Hey, it's your lucky day. It's a special night on Brad Stine Has Issues, where comedy, conservatism, and Christianity collide in a cacophony of clarity. We have a very special guest on a very special night, Brandon Straka, the creator of the Walk Away movement, a former leftist progressive who said, no, I'm out of here, and started a movement just so he could go to live events and get beaten up. But hey, welcome to the tolerant left. Folks, it is a very, very uniquely brand new Brad Stine Has Issues if you're old fans that watch every Monday, and I'm sure you are, because it's our first time that we are going directly live to YouTube, because we've discovered that that's supposed to help grow the page over at the F Word Facebook podcast area and focus on building subscribers on YouTube so we can really blow this up. Now, here's the thing, and Wyatt, I don't know if you're there. Are you there, son?
Yeah, I'm here. What happened? What broke?
Well, here's the deal.
Do I need the iPad?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm home is fine. Live is here, but there's no, I don't know if they can hear me. Are you on YouTube?
I've checked. They can hear you just fine.
Okay. Are you on YouTube?
Yes, we're on YouTube.
Okay. And we are being seen by folks. Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't put the cameras on.
I gotcha. So what you're telling me is I'm the only one that can't see folks.
Yeah,
okay.
it's just you.
Well, listen,
Again,
I tried.
Do I need to take the iPad?
I tried, but this is what I got. So
what did
there
you do?
Try searching.
What did you do?
Folks, I love coming to...
I made an idiot proof. Come on.
I don't know. Doggone it. Hey, folks, if you're brand new to Brad Stine Has Issues, you're about to see a disembodied hand, or what we like to call the Thing from the Addams Family throwback. And that's my son, Wyatt. He never allows himself to be seen because he believes that if you photograph him, it steals his soul.
What did you do?
What?
What did you do?
What did I do? My son is screaming out to me. Now, you got to keep in mind that my son is the producer of this podcast. So he was supposed to set up the live stream.
I did set it up. You ruined it somehow.
Anyways, but if you're brand new to the show, stick around. My son blames me for everything. Okay, is this live? That didn't work. He tried to put it up and it fell down. And what is this? This is a proof of physics that gravity does in fact work, and always at the worst possible times. So there I am, and I see it. So where it was, I don't know. It wasn't there, but we're here. I see myself. We're on YouTube, not my tube, not his tube, not her tube.
I have no idea how you broke it so spectacularly, but
it's
there you go.
YouTube.
It's fixed.
But you know what I'm really, really, really interested is, now that we went to YouTube, did we in fact outguess, outthink, and outmaneuver Saint Nick? Is he in fact the first? But no. Guess who's number one on my live chat, Whitey?
Ashley Haas.
Let me make sure you're right about that.
Oh, come on. You didn't even double check.
My goodness.
You made the statement.
Yeah, it is. It's Ashley Haas. Is she new? Is this the first time for her?
I don't recall.
Ashley.
I recall something with a palm tree in the Bahamas. That's as much as I can get, though.
Oh, Ashley
Palm tree,
Haas.
Bahamas.
I don't know what that means.
Is she that one coconut crab we met on the beach that one time?
I don't know. Oh, when we were trying to do the podcast live from other exotic ports?
I mean, we wanted to branch out. We had many ideas.
Why, you're not going to believe this, but I think this might actually give us brand new folk. Guess what? I'm just some guy said, good evening, everyone. And he's presuming two things.
We have now reached into the common folk.
Well, I know.
You're now getting just some guys.
But it's an interesting word here. I was thinking about this just now, just as I read it, as it came out of my lips, and I heard it, and I was calculating it in my cognitive mind. Everyone. Have you ever thought or broke that down, Wyatt? Every gives the illusion of many.
Yes.
One. So every single units, is that what he's saying? Does everyone mean every individual units of oneness?
I would say so, yeah. Every one means every single instance of a 1.
So that would this be, as they talk in tech talk with computers, this is a binary code, ones and zeros?
Yeah,
is that
that's binary, yes.
Right.
If it was just ones, it'd be unary.
Okay, so binary means ones and zeros.
Yep.
So would every one actually be unary? What is it?
Unary.
Unary. Would that be a unary then if it's every one? Or would you have to say every one and O's to be binary?
Well, that would be a base 1 counting system. So yeah, that would just be all ones.
Okay, well, let's see what is out there.
It'd go like 1 is 1, 2 is 1, 1.
Wyatt, I got a
1, 1,
very serious issue.
What?
And you know that it is called Brad Stine Has Issues, so this isn't unusual. It's not a curveball, but I have to deal with it.
Okay.
So number 3 is Paula Rauchi. What is missing from that name?
Marie?
What's the second name after Paula?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that question.
Faye.
Fairy?
Paula Faye.
Fairy Marie Marina.
She used to be referred to as my
Four-named lady.
favorite four-name lady. She's only got 2 names now. She's just a 2-name lady, and everybody's a 2-name lady, so she doesn't get a special spot.
We got the bootleg version.
Find your other 2 names, Paula Faye Marie Rauchi, and stick them on here so that I can
if you can't find them, find 2 more.
Jim Brona. Jim Brona. Hey, Brad and Wyatt. Joyful Notes. Hi, Brad White and fellow believers. Completely, I don't know who that is. Ashley Haas. Hi, just some saint. I don't know what that means. I'm just some guy. Jana Sizemore's here. Hi, Gianna. Luis Leone, he's here. Jim Brona, I said him. The Bushquacker. Hi, welcome all to YouTube. He found us. Carrie Tudor. Hey there. I see Brad White and the Peep at this new exciting Bushquackers in the house. Cabo. Hey, Karen. Oh, look what Karen Boyd's called on YouTube. Cabo. Cabo, Whitey.
Oh, yes, of course.
That's Karen Boyd.
Oh, I thought we had...
It's like we're turning them into new people. It's like they're identifying as something else. Anybody else that here? Stan Stinson showed up. Greetings, Brad and White and Warriors. He's here. Aaron Oakes is here. And you know, I'm not going to read it, but I'm guessing that we have brought something to Aaron's life tonight. What would you guess it is without reading it?
Oh, shoot. Is it a podcast?
Aaron Oakes says, what about us? It is his most...
Yeah, highlight of his...
It's now let's see if we got it. Hey, it's the highlight of my Mondays. Wow. I'm a member of the Militia of the Mind in the Mighty 10,000, but I don't see the Daily Brad or the extra answers. Well, I'm here, so I guess that's good enough. All right, so the extra answers... Wyatt, have we figured out where the extra answers are on for them to find it behind the paywall?
Yeah, it should be on bradstein.com.
So Aaron Oakes just said he can't find it. So while we're talking, White, if you can look it up and see if you can find it, we will try to get that info to Aaron while we're here. T.W. Smith, greetings, Brandon Loin Boy. Loin Boy, he calls you Loin Boy. T.W.'s always been one of the guys that inhabited YouTube. Isn't he the guy that was always on YouTube and rarely came over to see us?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Forrest Bainey! Forrest Bainey, is he here, Wyatt? What's his name?
Force.
And what makes it so special?
It's a cool name.
It's as cool as it gets. Let's see. Aaron Oakes, great news. Wyoming accepted the candidacy status for my degree, so I'm currently working on my bachelor's. Thanks, everyone, for your prayers. You're welcome, Aaron Oakes. And don't you ever forget to tell people that it was our podcast that made this happen. Wyatt, should I take credit for that?
I'd say so.
Okay, cool.
Take all the credit you can, but you still can.
Oh, Lord have mercy, you're right. Okay, anybody new? No. So, all right, so we are missing whom, Wyatt? Anybody we're missing from our regular crew? You know who's missing?
I don't see Necress.
Necress!
He did get the message, right?
Don't tell me, of all the people that needs tech support, can we assume Nick's not one of them?
I'd hope so.
Do you think he's weeping and gnashing his teeth because he wasn't the first one on and he just said, I quit, I'm taking my text and going home?
I hope not.
Yeah.
He's Saint Nick. We can't have Brad Stine Has Issues without Saint Nick. It's just
it's un-American.
That you said it. Couldn't say it by myself.
All right, I want to tell you something. You know, last week when we were talking, I was bringing up some things about my childhood. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the mercurochrome or whatever.
Mercurochrome?
Mercurochrome, yeah.
Oh, okay.
How are you still alive?
Well, because it burned all the germs out from
It
you.
also is mercury, which
I don't know if it is mercury.
You do realize that mercury is toxic, right?
Do you think it is mercury, though? Did you look it up and see, or is it they just threw that name in to give it the illusion
I
it was more
assumed
powerful?
that the guy who grew up in that era would have known. But let me check. Mercurochrome?
Yeah, mercurochrome, I think. And that just might be its shelf name, mercurochrome or something. I don't know. But anyways, I was thinking about this, you guys. By the way, Brandon Straka is on tonight here. It's going to be a special resting, and howbeit we'll have you share it and he'll share it and so forth. But it's only 30 minutes. So unfortunately, White and I are going to have to kill some time along the way. You're going to have to enjoy your time with us.
Speaking of killing things,
Yeah.
readily available in most countries, Melbromin, which is marketed as mercurochrome,
Yeah.
is no longer sold in Switzerland, Brazil, France, Iran, Germany, Denmark, or the United States due to its mercury content. How are you still alive?
Because I am a baby boomer. We can't die. Why, listen, we grew up in the nuclear age, so we got so much radiation that we became like a 50s,
You
like
became the modern day Superman.
supernatural, science fiction guys that would get.
Look at any
Peter Parker got bit by what?
radioactive spider.
And he became
Spider-Man.
Well, we were inundated with radioactive mercurochrome for every slice and cut we had, thus making us super
dead.
kind of. I don't know what we did, son.
Seriously, I don't get it. I've heard horror stories of what mercury does to people.
Well, let me.
It literally turns your brain to Swiss cheese.
Well, listen, I got to tell you something. First off, I do miss Nick. I hope he shows up. I don't get it. You think, what if we went over to Facebook, just a quick glance, and there he was all alone like this?
Stuck in a Facebook oasis.
Where did they?
On a show.
Where did they go? Why? Where's my family? He's like a little orphan boy. He's like a little David Copperfield. I want to go home, but all of my people have left me, and I used to be considered Saint Nick, and now I'm left to my own devices. I guess the only thing left is to down a bottle of mercurochrome.
You guys didn't drink that stuff, did you?
No, but I just thought if he wanted to end it all
I'm
because
just
he lost
saying,
us.
considering that you had lead in your paint, lead in your gas, I would assume, and mercury in your antibiotics, why wouldn't you just drink the stuff? I mean, clearly, sky's the limit with you guys.
Yes. Hey, folks, I'm going to do something special tonight. A couple things special. One of those things is, as you know, we are trying to raise, well, you didn't know this. Maybe I should have told them before I told them they should have known this. But we are going to be raising some, I think we're going to do, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow in our executive meeting. Why, did you know that I have executive meetings?
I mean, I'm a part of them, so I would hope so.
Dang it. But do you, oh, forget about that. So I was going to talk about how I did things so sophisticated and how people were just in awe in my presence and how they would sit and kiss my ring and lick the mercurochrome after effects off of my toes that were, scraped and gnarled.
Is that your superpower from all the exposure? You can just secrete mercurochrome from your pores?
Yeah,
or something?
Listen, what if I could?
If you could, I'm not sure who we'd need to call. Ghostbusters, a doctor. But that ain't normal, dude. That ain't normal.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I've got to make another album, and we had some glitches with the one I had tried, so we're going to look into another one. And I'm thinking about what let you guys know. I'm thinking about doing a crowdfund for this, because it takes some bucks to have a production team and a crew of 4 cameras and editing and lighting and audio film your show. And one of the things I wanted to do, and we used to do this all the time, but do you remember when we first started and we were just couple of toddlers, son. We didn't know what we were doing. We're just sort of in our little, knee breeches, trying to figure out how to run this podcast. This is long before Salem put us on their podcast network, and long before all of these other situations have come up that allow us to try to grow this thing into a behemoth. But we used to do little auctions. You remember that?
Oh, we did that infrequently, but yeah, I remember that.
Like a shirt. Remember,
Yeah.
I used to auction off game worn shirts.
Yeah.
So I'd find some of my old shirts that I would have, like my famous atheist shirts, or Nothing Matters But God shirt, or the bicycle, and then I would wear it, and I'd say, whoever donates the most in the auction, I will ship this to you. But I had a different way to do that. I had this group that handled ministry funds that allowed you to do direct deposit. Well, they had to stop that because there were some new rules, IRS rules, and they, of course, are trying to be completely above board, as they should be, as I try to be. So they weren't allowed to take full income anymore. It had to come through my own personal link, and then I could stick it over there on my own. So anyways, I had to close that down, that account, because I couldn't do a direct anymore. And so there is a donate button, though, at Brad Stine Has Issues. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to try to see if we can start rebuilding that scenario. A few weeks ago, we had a woman here by the name of, and she was an actress on Good Luck Charlie. Do you remember what her name was, Wyatt?
Lee Allen Baker.
Lee Allen Baker Kaufman. And she wrote some books from this Freedom Island Brave book series, which Kirk Cameron's involved with. And I think they're making a movie or a television show with it, and so forth and so on. And she wrote her own version called One Small Little Voice, and it was about a princess being strong and able to stand for morals and principles. But look what she did. She signed it right there. So anyways, whoever would like this for their grandchild, and I'm saying it's a girly thing, so I guess you're going to have to give it to a granddaughter. What do you think, White? I mean, it is a girl princess. Would this be something that you would buy for your grandson? A book about, and I'm not trying to be funny or sexist, and you know me, I'm politically as incorrect as it gets, so I don't care if you call me that. Because I don't care if I am. I believe the sexes are different. I think that men and women are different, and they have certain roles, certain strengths, certain weaknesses. And so, and it's certainly not about me caring that a woman is successful at her career or anything she wants to do, as long as she can do it to the same degree as anybody else, could care less. But I don't know if I'd buy a book for a grandson that's a girl-driven thing. So that's an interesting choice. Listen, all you people watching right now, most of you are Christians, not all. Most of you are conservatives, not all. You certainly don't deal with the PC. You hate it. You don't want anything to do with it. And so I think that you would be a great sounding board. And you can make this choice. Maybe you could just buy it. Maybe you don't have grandkids or kids, and you want to just buy it to give away or bring it to your church and your church library. But Leon Baker has signed it, and this is we're going to continue to try to grow a fund to see if we can get the next album out, which is also going to be part of the ability to put out some new clips that I want to try to build with some brand new stuff, including Daily Brads, which everybody loved, but we had to get them off of Facebook because they were crushing the algorithms, and all my other stuff wasn't being seen. I mean, I don't understand social media, but it was weird. It was messing everything up. So we have to find a new place because everybody liked Daily Brads. We just got to find a new platform for them to land. Anyways, if you'd like One Small Little Voice signed, it's just a donation. I'm guessing it's, I don't know, $5 to mail it, I would guess. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's start the bidding at $10, and then whoever does that gives me a few bucks to try to help build the fund to make the album. But it'll also cover the shipping, because that'll already be $5 in the hole. Anyways, if you're interested, go ahead and do that. But I wanted to get back to last week when we were talking about mercurochrome and different things. You know, son, I don't know if you've ever thought about candy.
I was assuming you were continuing with that sentence.
No, I want to see how long it would take you to respond.
I was waiting for the punchline or the continuation.
Okay. Well, here's
I should have kept you going for as long as you could have. Dang it.
Well, there's some candy that I want to just discuss with you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Just because I was thinking about this, I was looking at the candy. I was thinking about last week, and people were kind of interested because I was talking about my childhood and growing up in the 60s, 70s. And you, of course, started in the 90s, so you didn't really start being aware of yourself to the thousands, the aughts. Is that what you guys call it?
Naughties, I believe it's called. For naught.
Ah, the
zero.
naughties.
Yeah.
All right. So you really started coming of age in the naughties.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
Okay. So, but you had candy, yeah?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, first off, when people come up with candy, they have to invent it, right? I mean, they have to decide, because if you think about most candy, it's basically just sugar, right?
Yeah,
and it's a different way to
that is
pack.
correct.
So-
Is there a point to this conversation?
Well, so you have to come up
Hey
with...
guys, sweet things have sugar in them.
Yeah, no,
Who would
no.
have thought?
No, but that's not it. What I'm getting at is you have to come up with creative ways to sell sugar.
You just put food coloring in it and then name it something wonky.
But
and
you
that's
also
basically it.
have to Willy Wonky?
Just wonky.
You're right. Here's the deal. But the other thing is to melt that sugar and or place it into some other type of taffy arrangement so that it looks like something. And then the key is to give it a clever...
Monocle.
Yes. So one of the things that I was curious about, and I think this is a pretty old candy, and it made me think about it because it's so odd. And here's what I mean by odd. It is not a candy like most candy, especially candy bars. You eat you eat all year round,
yeah.
right? I mean, candy goes in it. I feel like a Snickers bar,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And you might feel like a Snickers bar on January 7th. You might feel like one July 4th, and you might feel like one on December 25th, right?
I am very curious where you're going with this, man.
So my point is that candy kind of is a 365-day a year.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
There are all exceptions.
Food consumption. Except one.
I can think of one, yeah.
There's one candy that we all know, we've all eaten. Most of us, if we're honest, aren't crazy about it.
It's a candy that exists, and
But
that's about all we can say for it.
and it
Are
own-
you thinking what I'm thinking?
It only shows up
Okay.
at Halloween.
Okay. All right. You and I say it on 3.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I want to. Do you have a pen? Throw me a pen. Give me a pen. I'm going to write it down.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Throw it, son. Okay, that was so not even close.
I was trying to not hit you in the face.
Now,
You're welcome.
it got me in the toe. Do you have any mercurochrome? All right, so I'm going to write it
Can't you
down.
just secrete some more?
Yeah. I'm going to write it down. Okay. And then, so it's written. And then I'm going to have you name and you guys see if you can do it too. What is the candy that everybody knows, everybody's eating, nobody's crazy about it, only shows up once a year? Wyatt? What? Oh, look, their commercial just came on. Now, when that commercial came on, were they still watching, or could they hear me, or would it just go right to the commercial?
No, you're fine.
But could they hear me when it was on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it sort of injects itself during the thing, so
Okay.
it catches up. So yeah, they heard.
All right, so guys, what is the candy? Everybody knows, everybody's tried, most don't like it, and it only shows up once a year, and yet we never abandon it. Wyatt?
1, 2, 3, candy corn.
No, I wrote candy corn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was candy corn.
Guys, what is the deal with candy corn?
What's the deal with candy corn?
I know
it's not candy, and it sure isn't corn.
Right. And if you plant it, you don't get a stalk.
You just get weird looks.
If you plant it, you might get stalked.
You know, I have seen candy corn used in methods that somehow make it even less appetizing.
All right. Pray tell.
Oh, you're going to need to play after you hear this one.
Please.
I present to you. Actually, you know what? Instead of telling you, I'm going to see if I can't find the picture online and show you it.
Can you put it up online for everybody to look at?
I don't want to sour the audience's
can you do it?
eyes. But I could look up a picture and post it here. Just give me a
Wyatt,
second.
guess what? Everyone
said it. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
It was so obvious.
Yeah, it was. Hey, you just got dissed by T.W. Smith. Now, you always told me, I remember every time we'd finish.
Excuse me?
Well, every time we would finish podcasts, I don't know how many times you came up and you said, I sure like that T.W. Smith. He seems like
He was my idol.
I remember you said that to me, and yet I just saw some that said this. Brad needs to hire a producer who knows what super chats are.
I know what super chats are.
No, but it says right here, because Wyatt don't know they exist, therefore does not know to look for them. And then it says, shall we use super chats to donate to the fund to hire someone who knows what they are? So he has gone
super
after
chats
you.
are basically you know how you can sort of donate on the Facebook Live?
Not really.
Well, that's because nobody donates to us.
Right.
But
Oh, wait. Is it like when they give you the when they give you the little
basically
coins?
that. It's basically
Okay. Like when they
as far
give
as
you
you need
coins.
to know. Yeah.
So there's a YouTube version of that where people can donate?
Yeah.
How does that work? How do they do that?
People have to want to donate.
Yeah. But anyways,
it's one of those things where like they take a piece. YouTube takes a piece of it.
I get you.
Yeah.
So does you have to literally say, "Hey guys, it's a super chat," or is there something you have to put into place so people understand they're in a super chat scenario, or you just call what super chat? Everybody just throws your money.
No, it's nothing like that. Oh,
But you have to sign up for anything or whatever. No.
I found it.
Okay, can you put it up on the screen so everybody can see?
I don't want to.
Show it, folks. Watch this. Now, tell me, give me a little bit of an upside as to what it is you're showing me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So you know candy corn.
Yeah.
You love candy corn.
Sure.
I have seen people do things with candy corn that make me genuinely shudder.
All right, let's see.
You sure you want to see this?
I do.
Fine. Okay, look, man, if we lose our entire audience because of this, it's on you.
Show me.
I'm trying, but YouTube is being weird.
Hey, maybe it's because you don't know what a super chat is.
I know what a super chat is.
Okay.
Quiet.
Okay.
You.
Yes, sir.
All right, so how about this? What do you all think it is? What do you all think I am so excited to share with the world?
Nobody knows. By the way, I just saw something come up.
Uh-huh.
It says 1999, and it's I'm just some guy. So did he just donate, or is this him trying to get the book?
Probably trying to get the book. Donating for that. So, what?
So it says 1999. I'm just some guy. Let's try this again, Brad. I'm Saint Nick.
Hold on.
Say,
Yeah,
Nick,
Saint Nick
has been watching us
was always
along.
here.
He was always here, and guess what? He still came in number 2. Ashley Haas. Did we ever figure out who that
crab.
was?
Yeah, the coconut crab.
That's it. She was still number 1, but I did not know that he was. So he just donated in 1999 so that we can. So he's trying to get the book. So good for you. So he might give it to his niece. He might give it to his daughter. I don't know what he's got. No, he's not married. I don't think he's got a daughter. But anyways, folks, candy corn is just an odd candy because we never eat it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't not like candy corn.
It's definitely.
I suck on it, though. I don't chew it so much.
Okay, suck on candy corn?
Yeah, it's kind of a
Why?
buttery flavor.
No, it's... Okay.
You don't think?
No, you know what? And I finally have that image if you want to see it
Show
so
it.
badly.
Folks, this is
Everyone,
the image of the most hideous
This
candy
is
corn.
the worst thing I've ever seen on the internet.
Show it.
Give it a minute for it to load up on your screen.
Hey, look, it says it's not a bid, it's just a super chat donation. So he just gave that to help us. Very nice. Wyatt?
Yes, it is exactly what you think it is.
Wyatt. Candy corn pizza?
Yeah. Ever since I saw that, I somehow hated candy corn even more.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah?
Carrie Tudor, remember her? She's an old fan. It says she came to your studio and knows what Wyatt looks like. Who came to my studio and saw what Wyatt looks like?
Oompst.
Candy corn? Who came to our studio, Wyatt? And knows what Wyatt looks like? I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway.
the cat thing. Remember the cat thing that was in the interview?
No.
There was a whole thing. You should have been there.
Who was it? Was it a guest?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Oh. Ashley Haas, according to Carrie Tudor.
Ashley Huss was here?
Apparently.
Was that when I had a guest host?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't
Listen,
know. I'm trying to comment on people asking me about the pizza candy corn abomination.
Yeah.
I'm not on my A game right now for this.
Well, I'll tell you what, while you're doing that,
I'm traumatized.
I'm going to keep you up that. Folks, if you eat that candy corn pizza, it about kills you. Wyatt, I have a clip I want to show to folks tonight about how everyone is terminally ill, and if you ate that pizza,
You'd be really ill.
that'd stick you there. So,
Genuinely
son,
ill.
go ahead and play that for him right now, if you would.
Okay.
Guys, hang on to this
Right,
and keep commenting about candy corn. Wyatt, hit it! How come every time we hear about someone getting a devastating disease, we always feel obligated to say they're fighting a courageous battle? I don't mean to be insensitive, but how are you being courageous simply by being diagnosed with a disease? The fact that you're searching for a cure and trying to remain optimistic, well, you're under dire circumstances. It's not necessarily courageous. It's called, what else would I do? I'm not dead yet. What are my options, doc? You're the expert. Crap. If I get cancer and the doctor said, well, listen, the cure was to tie 3 chickens together by the tail and hang them around your neck while playing the flugelhorn through my nose, I'm on it. I'm not courageous. I'm desperate. Sounds to me more like I got nothing to lose. I mean, if you get diagnosed with a life-threatening disease, you really don't have a whole heck of a lot of options, do you? Outside of, I don't know, joining the French Foreign Legion or taking up lion taming as a hobby between chemo, there really isn't anything courageous to do while you're trying to get healed. See, I think courageous is the wrong word. Hope, maybe, or remaining upbeat and seeking a cure, that's a more accurate term, I'd guess. And the only admirable trait is you don't quit trying until the end, because whatever the outcome, it's out of your control. I don't know anyone who hasn't somewhere been affected by the most ruthless of diseases, cancer. Cancer, like other residues of the fall, is one of the many devastating byproducts of this cursed earth. For some, it'll become terminal. But the truth of life is the moment you're conceived, guess what? You're terminally ill. The moment you're alive at conception, you're stricken with the ultimate killer disease that's never cured, mortality. The truth is, if we admit it to ourselves, this courageous battle thing, it's actually the rest of us healthy folks thinking, if we praise the one with cancer, maybe we won't get it. It's really those spared this horror, often trying to make sense of the senseless. Praising the disease-stricken can almost be like a subconscious neo-talisman, as though we're speaking to the spirit world. Hey, look at me. I'm praising that person that has something I don't want. Does that mean I get a pass, please? I mean, look how sympathetic I'm behaving. We feel sorry for cancer victims, as we should, and think heaping accolades on them somehow make the rest of us invulnerable to it happening to us. Truth is, every day you're alive is one day closer to you being dead. Nice thought, huh? Seems if we all saw life as a terminal illness, it would actually give us as humans the truth perspective we could all live by. Now, I'm sure some of you watching this might be tempted to confuse my words as insensitive to people suffering this indignity as we speak. But here's what I'm getting at. If being told we're dying suddenly makes people courageous, and since we are all dying, then aren't we all potentially given the opportunity to be leading courageous lives? That is, if courage means trying to be positive and inspiring to others no matter what state we find ourselves. Disease is just a rude awakening to the fact that we're always seeking the winning outcome to a game it's already rigged. Faith, to me, is courageous. I don't get to see God like I see humans. I don't communicate, understand, or feel completely at ease with the way God interacts in my life. I'm told by my faith to have faith in God in order to please him. As a matter of fact, faith is the only way to please God by his own words. So just to be clear to anyone out there that still believes that I don't know what it's like to have a loved one get cancer, I should inform you my dad died of it. The cancer that ate his brain and killed an otherwise healthy man of 59, who was gone within 6 months of diagnosis, was cruel and evil and horrific. It robbed him of his speech, motor skills, and ability to think clearly and to communicate. If you're watching this episode right now and happen to be battling cancer or have a loved one in that situation, I have nothing but empathy for you. If you leave your name in the comments, I'll be happy to say a prayer for you as well. I hate cancer, but it's real. Death is real. Dying is real. And there is nothing particularly courageous about it, since we don't have a choice to avoid it. Spooky. Hey, have you all subscribed to Brad Stine Has Issues on YouTube? We gotta blow this up, guys. Let's get a couple 100,000 subscribers, and then we are really going to be hitting pay dirt. And yes, thank you, Saint Nick. So I am so, like, he was totally undercover. He never said anything. I mean, I mocked him immediately. What happened in Saint Nick? I even was almost weeping for poor Saint Nick. He's gone. And then he was here the whole time watching, man.
He was testing us to see if we remained faithful in his absence.
Yes, that's true. Candy corn.
Sensei,
candy corn pizza.
Okay, yeah, that's a thing.
Okay,
I've
so
seen
here,
times.
so here's the point I was trying to make. I'm sure there's candy that's as nasty as candy corn, right? But isn't it true you never see somebody put out a dish of candy corn in February? You know, it's never for Valentine's. You never see a dish of candy corn. In July, it's not something we pass along. You don't get it in September. You don't get it in for Christmas stocking stuffer. It's only Halloween. How does this candy survive if it's only eaten one day a year? And with the excess, people try to get creative, like maybe we can make pizza. And my point is, candy isn't just sugar. There are some very unique candies. And I'm going to tell you some that I remember growing up, and I don't know, and I want to see if you've heard of them, or if that's something that maybe you've been participating in. Why do you remember wax lips?
That one specifically was one of those things that I looked on the shelf when, who would be dumb enough to buy into that? As I got my ring pop and then was like, look at me, I'm royalty.
Quiet. Wax lips were these big,
I know what they are.
Fat lips with a little like tab that stuck out so you could hold it against your mouth and have these big funny lips.
I know what they are.
But then when you got tired of that, you could eat them. You chewed it up, and it was a sweet, are you ready? Wax. It was wax that they put sugar in.
People will put sugar in anything.
They sweetened wax. And we chewed it until it lost its flavor, and then we spit it out.
So it was gum. It was basically gum.
Kind of, but once it got cool, it was hard. It was wax. It was like chewing a candle. Whereas when you were eating it and keeping it warm, it would chew really good. We also had something where it was little Coke bottles.
Oh, yeah, those things, yeah.
You bite the top off and you could drink the liquid out of it. It
those.
Was sweet liquid, and you know what that liquid was, son? It was melted
sugar.
Candy corn. So very few people know.
They put sugar in anything, man. Corn, soda bottles, wax. What's next? Hey, let's put sugar in our gas. Make it run smoother.
Wyatt, they had a wax harmonica.
Okay, no, this one you're joking.
No,
this one
it was an orange harmonica made of wax that was had like a wedge. It went up. It wasn't like a straight one like we're used to. It was like a wedge, almost like a half a house, like this side of our thing here, a wedge, and then it would be like the body, and then this wedgy thing, and it had holes in it, and then went through, and you could blow into it, and it made harmonica sounds with the wax thing, and then you could eat it.
Never take me to a wax museum. I might start eating the guests.
But wax. Yeah. They sold wax, sweetened wax, sugar-filled wax. Wyatt.
Maybe that's why people always get confused and eat wax fruits. They expect it to be sugary.
The most mind-boggling of all the candies, the one that I most had a visceral reaction to, is a candy I don't know if you've ever participated in. Maybe. You ready? It might be one of the few candies that starts with a Z.
Oh, shoot. Do I know this one?
Zots.
That sounds familiar. Are those the hard candy?
It was hard.
On the strips of paper?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else then.
It was like a hard kind of a candy. You'd suck it. It was sweet. The moment you bought into it, it foamed up in your mouth.
So like it was
like bicarbonate, whatever soda thing. So when it mixed with your spit and you would chew it, it'd go like you put an Alka-Seltzer in your mouth, and it would just foam like it would explode in your mouth. And the first time you did it, you brought to a friend and said, "Here, chew that." No, you got to chew it, because you wanted to watch them for the first time go and have this explosion of bubbles and foam as though you are rabid in your mouth. That was candy, and that was fun. 1972, I remember I was playing baseball, Little League, and Zots came out and was like, "Guys, you got to do the Zots." Did any of you guys ever do Zots? You people out there.
That sounds so familiar, but I'm so glad I lived in a time where that wasn't a fad.
Well, here's another thing that I found interesting growing up, son, for our candy. They had a bag of, it was like a little bag, a little sack filled with bubble gum, but it looked like little yellow gold nuggets.
Yeah.
And you'd open it up and eat them, and that was gum turned into gum.
Yeah, oh God, I know that one. I had that stuff. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad.
It's just such a wonderful novelty, though.
Yeah.
But Wyatt, we had, and this is funny, when you think about the difference in the culture and how people see the world and what would be seemingly inappropriate, we had candy cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, I know those ones.
There was two kinds. One was bubble gum in a long tube wrapped around a piece of paper, and you could blow through it, and it would have like the dust on it that would keep it from sticking. So it looked like smoke was coming out of it, and then you tear it open and chew the gum. But the other one was almost like a, it's like chalky substance, but it had a little red tip on it like you were smoking a cigarette. But it would come in the actual packaging, Pell-Mell, Marlboro, whatever, like the packaging of the cigarettes, and it was candy, and you pretend like you're smoking for kids.
Yeah, the 60s and 70s were really weird time for cigarette advertisements. You know, the Flintstones did a cigarette advertisement.
Really?
Seriously, yeah.
Now, this is at a time before cancer had entered
was
into
invented,
the...
yeah. Before it was invented.
Yeah, this is long, but this is Stone Age. They had just gotten used to using their lungs and communicating using words. So cancer was the last thing on their mind.
Yeah. Still cannot believe some of the stuff.
Fred.
Honestly, I thought the weird...
Yabba dabba doobie!
Yeah, that's basically how it went.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at some of the stuff like... remember those chocolate gold coins?
Yes.
Those things were always like... I don't know. Those were always, to me, some of the best chocolates because they had that perfect like thickness where they were thick enough that you could actually like, bite on them.
Yes.
But they weren't so thick that you like struggled, if that makes sense. It was like the perfect like middle ground.
Right.
Speaking of fake money,
Please.
So at Lowe's a few weeks ago,
Yes.
I was at the customer service desk because we have to go there to get like customer returns to put back. And as I was there, I see this notice in one of the computers.
Yeah.
Telling the cashiers, remember, always double check any large bills before accepting them.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. I guess somebody, messed up or something. And I look 3 inches away and I see taped to the computer screen one of those $1 million fake bills that churches send out. And I'm just like, they didn't. Did
they give them change?
If they value their jobs, they didn't.
Well, first off, you make it very clear no one values their job at Lowe's.
Nobody cares. Half the people quit every week.
Anybody.
I will say there was one guy who cares because he's only been on the job for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I warned him it won't last, but he insisted he will not hate this job. And I just got to say, I wish you better luck than I had.
So you weren't like lifting him up and inspiring him and trying to...
No, I totally tried to engage in his hopeless optimism, but
yeah.
I just know too much.
Well, why...
I've been around the block, man.
So why? Let me ask you this though. You're a 28-year-old man.
Yeah.
You're doing this part-time at Lowe's because you're still wrapping up school.
I just feel sorry for them at this point.
You're almost finished. But think about this now. Is there anything they could do at Lowe's that would make you enjoy the job? That would make it everything like, you know what? I love going in and selling lawn equipment and rakes, and I love getting together with folks and helping people, navigate the nuts and the bolts of life. I mean, seriously. I mean, one thing that has always bothered me about people, I hear it all the time. Whenever I'm at a place listening to people, a lot of times on lunch hours, they're from some company or whatever, they're always complaining about how bad the company is and about how horrible their manager is and how the so-and-so is such a, terrible workmate or whatever. And they're always complaining that, and I think to myself, okay, so A, you're presuming that everybody loves you, that people are sitting around at wherever they're eating, talking about how much you're such a prize. But why are people so down? They're getting a job. They don't have to stay. They're getting a paycheck. If they don't like it, go find a better job. I don't understand why you would complain about your job if somebody gave you the opportunity to work and you got paid. What's the problem?
Okay, let me put it to you like this.
I can't wait.
You start this brand new job at a library.
Yeah.
You are taught the Dewey Decimal System so you can find any book you want in seconds.
Yeah.
You enjoy it because somebody asks you for something and you point them right to it. But then a new manager comes and he doesn't necessarily think the Dewey Decimal System is that useful.
Yeah.
So he has you stop.
Okay.
Then over time, everything gets sort of put in the wrong spot, maybe. maybe somebody forgot this book goes in the nonfiction section, and before you know it, anytime anyone asks you for something, well, now there's only like a 50% chance it'll be a quick and easy 5-second thing. And the other half of the time, it's at least 10 to 15 minutes just scouring every single possible spot it might be in, only to find out somebody checked it out a few days ago.
So you get annoyed because people are incompetent, people aren't doing the right thing.
And no matter how many manager changes you get, no matter how many new people come into that building and how many people leave, the system never improves.
You think you could fix it?
How? No, of course not. Because your boss tells you can't.
So I'm going to say something to you. Are you ready? This is coming from Carrie Tudor. And by the way, she wants prayer because she's struggling with her job. So we're going to pray for her to help her get whatever it is that God has for her. It says, I care too much at Walmart. I am a cashier. We're cutting our hours too much over time. Even me doing 21 hours because of health. Also, my ADHD, I've got it activated when I had heart surgery in 2020. So she cares about her job too much. And so she had said something earlier about her having some struggles. I'm going through a lot. Keep me in prayers. Going through Job. Like in the Bible moment, I need a breakthrough. So she's just struggling with her job. So what I'm getting at is, you're not the only one. Carrie, who's been a great follower of Brad Stine, has issues. And Wyatt, can you blame her?
Walmart? Yeah. No. I'm sorry. I'm the stinking candy corn pizza comments are getting me confused. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
They just keep showing up, man.
Lord, help Carrie Tudor today to find her peace and her glory and her goodness that comes with serving you and believing that you're there. And when things are hard, get her through the other side, push her through the other side, give her peace, give her hope, and bring about the opportunity for her to make a good living, doing something that she can enjoy and be a light to those that comes in her path in Jesus' name. Folks, listen, when we come on Brad Stine Has Issues, we've always tried to, I don't know. When I first started, it was just me ranting about crazy stuff that was bugging me. And then later I thought, well, maybe it's too heavy and that people want to have some fun. And of course, White came into the picture and we started having some fun and joking around. And then I'd see all these podcasts where comics would joke around. So I thought, well, maybe that's what people would like and that would be fun too. And I try to mix the two up. It's why I threw in the terminally ill clip earlier, because I want to keep it kind of fresh and different. But guys, do you ever think, and I'm always talking to you, you are my focus group, because you're the ones that made this podcast launch. I tell you it every day. It's not a joke. I'm on Salem Network podcast. You guys show up every Monday and help me do this. It's real. You guys made a guy have a professional podcast when he didn't know what he was doing. But let me ask you this. Do you guys ever miss me just ranting? Because I got to tell you something. When I think about Brad Stine Has Issues, when I think about some of the moments I've had talking to you guys over the years, and sometimes I was going through difficult times, personal times myself. Sometimes it was just looking at the world. Sometimes it was looking at my country and what was happening. And there was times I went all in, man. I just was so passionate or so broken or so confused or so anxious. And that would come out in a rant. It was just pure, raw, my perspective thrown out there because I just needed to rant, to vent, to let it out. And that seems to be something that people have enjoyed and maybe, hopefully, have been inspired by or in some way is intrigued. Just like the Daily Brads. And by the way, for those of you who've watched the Daily Brads and liked them, I'm going to bring them back. We just have to find a different place to put them so that it doesn't conflict with the Facebook algorithms. So I'm just letting you know, trying to negotiate. It's a double-edged sword that you get a successful podcast that's actually growing and doing something, and then you have to be worried about now the algorithms are, because you're getting higher views and so forth, is messing up your thing over here. And I don't understand it. I just wanted to just talk to you guys and have some fun and hopefully inspire you in your faith, in your philosophy, and in caring about freedom in this nation. That's all I really wanted to do. And folks, it's turned into, I don't know, trying to find some fun along the way. But, I'd love for you guys to comment. Do you miss it being more serious? Do you liked it when I just kind of went off? Because I'm trying to find a balance. I'm never not going to joke around with my son. That's a blessing from God that he lets me have my son with me and we have some fun. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that was going to be the case. Sometimes it's me talking about something that matters to me, about freedom and religious liberties and our faith and our country. And it's passion, it's real, and hopefully that inspires you and makes you think twice. Sometimes I get angry and frustrated at the lack of disciplined believers that are just walking through their faith without commitment, without being serious, just running through the formula, but not actually being fully all in with fruit bearing and expecting to see results and expecting to see healing and expecting to talk to people about the God that they believe in and just being visible and identifying as a believer unapologetically. And I get frustrated and I just lash. I let y'all have it like that, like a John the Baptist moment, and I'm trying to be sensitive to what God might have me do. And I don't know if this works or doesn't work, or if there's something I can't just run it on the fly. I'm not acting like you guys are designing what the show is, but I do listen to you because you're my family. Literally, you're the podcast family that's created this thing. So you're pretty loyal and you're pretty focused on what I'm doing, and you seem to know what works and what has drawn you here all these years. So let me know in the comments. It doesn't have to be fancy, but hey, get more. We want that serious. That's what really drew me here in the first place. What drew you here? What keeps you here? Why do you keep coming back? Have you done it so long now that you built a little family, and so now you come back for that? I'm not saying you don't enjoy what we do, but you've also become friends here, and that's fine. Good for you. That's the body of Christ together through the miracle of the internet, being able to become friends and connected to somebody you don't know, would never know if there wasn't such a thing as an internet. Nothing wrong with that. So I just want you to understand that there are people out there just like me who got fed up. They got fed up with what was happening, and they didn't know how to respond to it. And some of them were far left-leaning progressives. And they were so committed to that there was no other way to see the world. This is the truth. Anybody else is a fascist. Anybody else is evil. Anybody else is intolerant. Anybody else is closed-minded. Certainly from the LGBTQ community, they're always stereotype and caricature people that disagree with them. Well, the guest that I have coming right now is gay, and he was a progressive, and he walked away from the Democratic Party, the Progressive Party. He's still gay, but now he's a conservative, and he is now taking a beating when he goes to try to speak of progressives who have turned on him, like they will, because he's decided to change his mind about how he sees the world. He has a very unique business model. I don't know if that's the right word. What would it be? A movement to try to draw leftists out of that and to join him. And he's gotten quite a reputation online, good and bad, because he broke from the typical leftist talking points that it is blasphemy, it is heresy to ever leave that philosophical plantation, and he did it. And I did it a long time ago. When I destroyed my mainstream career, when I realized I will never be on The Tonight Show, I will never be on Letterman, I'll never be on any of those. Of course, they're all gone now, but I'll never be on whatever is out there now. I don't even know I don't even watch them. Because I'm a Christian conservative, and that will be part of my show. That was the end. I was over, but I was doing what I was called to do. And it's why I've always said to you that PC free is liberty. Political correctness, if they ever say to you, you're being politically incorrect, say thank you for the compliment. Political correctness is, of course, a small germination from the Frankfurt School of learning to speak in one particular language, have one particular philosophical thought, and there is no deviation. And of course, it's gotten much, much, much worse as it's evolved into critical theory, critical race theory, DEI, everything that is basically Marxist undergirding and going even beyond that into the postmodern, into deep into relativism, post-truth, and the destruction and the hatred of the West has all come out of that school that has made a long march through the institutions, took over our academy, and now are making our children, not teaching them, making them become a little activists for basically communism and socialism and the destruction of the West and capitalism. So I try to bring on people that aren't all Christians, but we have something in common. Remember, all truth is God's truth. So I don't care who says it. If it's true, it's still godly, even if it comes from a non-believer. So with that in mind, I'm doing what very few Christian podcasts do. I'm bringing on the non-Christians to have a conversation because there are some things in common. And as a Christian, I'm trying to find commonality with everybody. If I can find someone to fight with me, it's still a good thing. We're in the fight of our lives in America, folks. And I'm doing what I always do. I'm putting the woke back to sleep. Or at least die trying. Folks, enjoy this interview with Brandon Straka. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I want to jump right in because I know you're a very busy man right now, a lot of politics going on or whatever. I want to talk about your walk away movement. I noticed that in the way that it's been framed, that you walked away from the Democrat Party, but I often wonder myself, it reminds me, I think, of a kind of a superficial definition. It's kind of like the whiteness definition. It's like, you got this whiteness and you got to utilize your privilege and whiteness. There is no whiteness. That's not a thought. That's not a philosophy. That's a skin color. So I don't know that you walked away from the and I'm going to let you tell me, the Democrat Party as much as you walked away from a philosophy, a point of view, a way that they saw the world that obviously didn't work for you. So tell me exactly, what did you walk away from at the deeper level, not just the superficial, using easy terminology?
You're not wrong in what you're saying. And I would add to that I also walked away from an attitude that just became completely disagreeable to me at this point. I mean, so if you go back to, I was a liberal my entire life. And to give people a little bit of context, I voted for Obama twice. I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I've always voted Democrat my entire life until 2020. I'd say somewhere around 2015, there started to be sort of this attitude shift within the liberal movement. And that's when I started hearing a lot of terms like white privilege, toxic masculinity, and all of these very sort of divisive terms. And it was very clear to me that there was a push happening to sort of vilify and demonize white people, men, white men, all of these different things. And I found it really disagreeable because I thought, the whole reason I gravitated toward being a liberal and was proud to be a liberal is because at the very core of it, I'm against sexism, I'm against racism, I'm against bigotry and hating people and judging people based off of exterior factors. And that's all that liberalism was becoming, was just sort of the counter version of everything I became a liberal to fight against. And then at nearly the same time that was happening, maybe 6 months to a year later, but around the same time, all of the Trump hatred and Trump fear began. And it took me a while to understand that those two things were inextricably linked. But up until the point, like I said, I voted for Hillary Clinton. But when Trump got elected, which was not supposed to happen, and not what we were told was going to happen, everything got turned upside down. And all of the people, including myself, on the left, really started going crazy, like an overdrive. And then I started to see that all of the things that had been kind of leading up and bothering me for a year or 2 years were hyper exaggerated. And I always say, if Trump had not been elected, I honestly would probably still be a liberal, because I don't think things would have come to light for me that came to light when Hillary Clinton lost and Donald Trump won. And so ultimately, shortly after Trump getting elected, I started to see very clearly that the media that I had been trusting was inherently dishonest and deceptive and manipulative. And all of those things about liberalism, as they're becoming, more anti-white, anti-male, all of these things just got kicked into overdrive. And I just I couldn't be a part of it anymore. It just fundamentally disagrees with my values. And so I walked away from the Democratic Party, the ideology of liberalism, and the left-wing media. And then it was probably another 8 or 9 months before I found my way over to the Republican Party and now consider myself to be a conservative.
I think the key here is how you were able to overcome a deeply seated philosophical worldview. I mean, no, listen, to me, the left, and I do differentiate, and I got this from Dennis Prager, I do differentiate between leftism and liberalism. Honestly, I used to use those. Well, I never even used leftism. I used to just say liberal and conservative. It was easy.
Yep.
But I got to tell you, buddy, I wish to God we had liberals back, because I got to interview Alan Dershowitz, for example, on a documentary I did about Israel, to defending Israel years ago. He's a classic liberal. And here's the difference. Him and I completely disagree on politics, on who he votes for, but he lets me disagree and gives me the dignity of dissent, which does not happen from the left. And the left is a religious belief. The end. It is a deep spiritual belief that cannot be countered. It is like blasphemy to disagree. But you did something. I said this in your intro. It's not easy to walk away from everything that was reality to you, the way you saw the world as a left wing. Maybe you were really a liberal. Maybe that's why you were able to evaluate something objectively, because a liberal theoretically allows dissent, tries to evaluate ideas, and then draws a conclusion. That was what used to be called civil discourse. It's gone now. But you were able to do that, and I got to tell you something, that isn't easy to do. So it couldn't just suddenly you became reasonable, or that you suddenly were able to. What allowed you to see something that for so long literally wasn't even in your DNA? I mean, there had to be something else than it was, oh, they out-reasoned me, because most people don't even believe reason now is racist. So how did you do that?
Well, and see, there you go. You kind of just touched on it right there. So I think that the reason why I was able to change my mind, which it was not easy, it required a lot of humility. It's not easy to admit that you were wrong, or views that you've espoused were incorrect. So there was a lot of that. But I think fundamentally the difference between me and a lot of people on the left is that I truly was not trying to use my identity, or as a liberal, or as a gay man, or as somebody on the left, to leverage power. Victimhood is power. It's a very powerful commodity, and the left loves to leverage victimhood to yield power that they can use over other people. So now, in my mind, when I was on the left, and we would talk about issues like racism or homophobia or things like that, and we would talk about unfairness and inequity and things like that, I actually cared about just making the world a more fair, more balanced, more even place for everyone to be able to participate. I wasn't trying to abuse these notions of racism and things to attain power that I could yield over other people. And I think that that's the key difference between myself and a lot of people on the left. Because when I realized that the media, the left-wing media, and the powers that kind of control the levers of the narratives that liberals believe in, when I discovered that so much of what they were saying was not true in terms of race, in terms of sexism, homophobia, etc., I thought it was great news. I thought to myself, I want to go and be a part of talking to Black people and LGBT people and basically saying, hey, good news. You don't have to be afraid of Donald Trump. You don't have to be afraid of Trump supporters, because what you're being told about him and them, it's not true. And, your rights are not in danger. Your way of life is not in danger. No one's trying to criminalize your lifestyle or who you are or what you do. I thought that this was a good thing. What I quickly discovered was that when I started espousing a message like that, I became public enemy number one to the left. And it took a minute to realize, wait a second, they don't want minorities to realize that their rights are not in danger, or that they need and are dependent on minorities believing these false narratives so that they can control the way that they think and the way that they feel and ultimately the way that they vote. That realization was infuriating to me. And that was the number one thing that made me say, no, I'm not going to be a part of this at all anymore. And I'm going to speak out against it, because I actually believe what I say. I actually believe that I want more freedom, more opportunity for all people, including minorities. And you can't out of one side of your mouth say that you want minorities to have more freedom and more opportunity, and out of the other side of your mouth continually lie to them, deceive them, and manipulate and exploit them so that you can control them with false narratives, so that you can control the outcome of how they think and how they feel and how they vote. You can't have it both ways.
Well, and of course you are gay, so that gives you, I guess, a alleged, if you're using leftism nomenclature, victimhood status. But I find it fascinating that I wonder to myself, God, it's almost like infantilizing the minority, because they do treat blacks, they do treat minorities almost like children who are
Yes.
so foolish, and so the thought process is so shallow that they're unable to see how victimized they are. And it's such a demeaning way to treat a human. But my point to you, Brandon, is that ironically, you seem to have been a classical liberal, because theoretically that was the party of the people, right? To be the left was say, I do care about the working class guy and the guy that nobody cares about and whatever. And that's how they got their power. Was your average, Joe Lunchbox said, I want that guy because the rich guys are all on the conservative side. Clearly that wasn't true. But I mean, how did you see conservatives before you became one? Was it that simple to you to be discounted like we were just a bunch of racist and bigots and closed-minded? I mean, was it just easy to tarnish us like that so you didn't have to grapple with the reality of a dialogue? Or was there something that you saw in conservatism that you felt justified that bigotry towards us?
Well, it wasn't. I mean, I can definitely say that I believed it. I mean, what the feelings that I felt about conservatives were authentic and genuine, and I believed them. So it wasn't as though I knew that conservatives are not racist and not whatever, but it's, why not just label them that anyway, because ... It wasn't that. But I would say that I just, I fell prey to the marketing from the Democrats and the left-wing media about conservatives. It's a shocking and alarming thing the day that you realize that the media that you've been trusting your entire life is not trustworthy. They're predatory and deceptive and dishonest, and they're liars and deceivers and exploiters. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, but it takes a minute to be able to see it sometimes, even though it's like right there in front of your eyes the entire time. So no, I mean, I would say that to answer your second question, there are definitely, I think, things that Republicans have gotten wrong or went down the wrong path for a long time and didn't do them any favors. I think it's fine to have a religious view of marriage or a religious definition of marriage. I can respect that. But I think that the civil marriage debate among same-sex couples and the conservative right, or the kind of more like the religious right, I think that gave a lot of fodder to the media and people on the left to be able to say these people are anti-gay, they're homophobic. When you have things like that, where you can see, policy ideas that are being pushed forward that the media is able to kind of put their spin on the narrative behind, it doesn't do any favors. So it's not as though, all of these stories were kind of like spun out of thin air, out of absolutely nothing. I mean, there were at times, and I think it's been a while, the marriage debate was kind of taking place between 2010 and 2015. And then I think that the media kind of springboarded off of that to say, these people are, they want to use their power in government to take people's rights away and, inhibit the success and opportunities of various sects of minority people. And, it seemed believable considering, different policy initiatives that had been pushed forward.
One of the greatest challenges is if you have a sincerely held belief, you can't kind of compromise it. I mean, if you really believe something is true, then you can't just pretend like it's not. I mean, let's put it to you like this. Most people, if you said you believe in free speech, would say, of course, oh yes, I'm a big free speech advocate. And I said, well, here's how you can decide if it's true or not. The only way you can say you believe in free speech is if you allow speech you hate to be in the atmosphere. If you can't do that, you don't believe in free speech. It's kind of obvious, but it isn't to those who believe that they are self-appointed to decide what is allowed in culture. And it's so dangerous. It's so evil to control my thoughts and my behavior. But I'm curious, it was interesting what you talked about, having I'm a Christian, so I had to have a religious perspective. We're kind of stuck because we're like, I didn't write the Bible. I mean, I'm trying to go by this particular philosophical perspective that God has given to me. I still love people, my lots of gay relatives and friends in my life. So that has never been an issue of our interaction. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do with, and not just me and you, but in general, what does one do with a firmly held belief? And am I supposed to censor that because it hurts somebody's feelings? That isn't a free place. I think
Right.
that unfortunately, for some of those who feel offended by a particular moral standard, even if you disagree with it, I think the onus is on you. It's like, look, buddy, do you believe in freedom? Because you're going to have to suck it up, man. You're going to have to learn that you don't get everything your way. And this is part of what free discourse is. And it is the only chance the West is going to survive is that we can say these things and not suddenly get fired or told I don't get to work or I don't like this kicker from Kansas City that was a Catholic in front of a Catholic kids in a Catholic school saying, here's my Catholicism. Now you should
Right.
lose your job. This is totalitarianism. It's
Nuts.
absurd. And we can't keep this up and think this nation can survive. What do you think can be proactive tools that people who are on the right or considering, maybe they're watching this show, they've seen you, they follow you, that's like, this dude's pretty brave. I'm gay. Maybe I want to go to the conservative, but now what? Am I going to lose all my friends? Am I going to be left here high and dry? So do you have some war stories and maybe some help and hints as to how one can make that transition and feel you can navigate it in a way that's effective and helpful?
Sure. Yeah. And the first thing I'd like to say is that my organization Walkaway, and for everybody out there watching, we've now launched a new Facebook group. Facebook actually banned us in 2021. And we're still kind of like working through that. But we have launched a new group on Facebook. So you can go to #WalkawayCampaign and join our new Facebook group. And we also have our own app now, which is available in the iOS if you're an Apple or iPhone user, or if you're an Android user. Either way, go to your app store and load #WalkawaySocial. It's a social media app very similar to Facebook, but we don't fact check you or flag you, or, we have lots of great free dialogue that's happening there. But my movement Walkaway, to be clear, is for everybody. It doesn't matter to us if you're white, black, brown, straight, gay, old, young, fat, thin. It's a movement for everyone, and we have all types of people in our movement. My advice would not be any different for somebody whether they're gay or not gay, or black or white. I would say that if you're a conservative and you're struggling to have conversations with people on the left and be able to make useful headway, what I always recommend to people is that two different things. First of all, again, nobody really likes to admit that they're wrong or be confronted in that way. It's overwhelming. People need space to realize that they've made a mistake, and that there's support for them as they come out the other side of realizing that they made that mistake. And so I often encourage people, rather than going to people and arguing with them and telling them that they're stupid and telling them that they're wrong, try to engage more productively. I always recommend find a really compelling video or something on a subject, send it to someone, text it to them, or send it to them privately, email it to them, and just say, hey, look, I'm curious, will you watch this and let me know your thoughts about it? I'd love to discuss it with you. And then have an open conversation with them and allow them to express what they think, what they like, what they didn't like, without feeling like they're being judged or cornered. And that's kind of what happened to me. That was what began my process of changing my mind, was that somebody, a lifelong conservative, who saw that I had posted something that was not true, it was not correct. And she sent me a video that kind of debunked the thing that I believed that wasn't true. And she just said, I'm not trying to have an argument with you. I just wanted to know, what do you think about this? And I watched it, and I had to watch it several times. And then it started to open my eyes and open my mind and make me realize I was wrong. And then another thing I think is, when you're having conversations with people, establish what I call mutual core values. The left think that they have a monopoly on compassion and kindness and justice and things like that. And they think that everyone else is just racist and bigoted and greedy and self-interested and blah, blah, blah. And I always try to say, get a jump on it and tell them, look, I care about people of color. I care about financially disadvantaged people. I care about immigrants. I care about all of these things. And, my policy beliefs and decisions are based off of those compassionate values that I have. Allowing people to enter our country illegally in droves is not kind and not compassionate. It certainly isn't kind and compassionate to lower income people in our own country who are already struggling. It's not compassionate to women who have to fear for their safety more and more and not be able to walk down the street alone at night, as we have thousands and thousands of undocumented criminals coming into our country. We don't know their criminal history. Many of them are fleeing criminal pasts. We believe what we believe for reasons that are in the best interest and the safety and prosperity and to provide freedom and opportunity to the people of this country. So nobody on the left should ever be telling me or anyone else that what we believe is not kind or compassionate, because I would argue that the policies that they push for cause more damage, more destruction, less safety, less prosperity, less freedom, less opportunity to people. The values I believe in, the policies I believe in, provide the opposite. Try to present what you present from the perspective, it being kind, compassionate, and offering more freedom and opportunity, and also try to allow people the freedom and the space to absorb what you're trying to tell them. Have an open dialogue about it as productively as you can.
Well, you said something interesting. He's like, I had to admit that I was wrong. And, that's hard for people to do, and it is. But I think that in some interesting way, in this particular exercise, I don't think you're wrong. It's kind of like when you're 3 and you say, 2 + 2 is 7 because you don't know math yet. It's a wrong conclusion, but only because you're not educated yet. Once you discover what 2 + 2 is for, oh, okay. And I'm coming back to, and I'm giving you more props, is that you had a courage. You cared more about what is true than what you believed. And that's a hard thing to do. And so when you said, well, I looked at this other information and I had to reevaluate and said, man, I had a false conclusion and I found truth that allowed me to get back into balance where I belong. So really what all you're doing is educating yourself. There's nothing to be ashamed of to say, I just got better information. I got better understanding. I found a different path that's better to get me there than that one. That doesn't make me wrong. It made me smart, made me wise. It made me want to want to grow as an adult and as a human and enhance my dignity by standing on what is true. And I love your perspective. But I think because you have a unique vantage point, I'd like to at least have a little bit of a discussion about the trans movement, because from what I'm watching and seeing take place, especially with these children and the mutilation of their body, I mean, it's so beyond my comprehension that this is allowed to happen that it's really difficult to grasp. One of the things that I find fascinating is they say a lot of what is happening of these kids is that they are basically gay and they're being told, well, really, you're just really a girl because you're a guy that desires males. And
Right.
so let's turn you into a girl. So do you see this as almost, this is I don't want to use the word genocide because it doesn't deserve, it's a big word, but almost some odd elimination of gay people by turning them into monsters by no fault of their own. They're kids. They don't know what's going on. So anyways, is that too much of a statement, or do you think there is something kind of nefarious going on here that has to be addressed?
Oh, no, I think there is definitely something nefarious going on. And I don't think it even just is limited to gay people. When you're looking at various regions of the country where astronomical numbers of young people are identifying now as transgender, and this isn't happening in other areas of the country, where I think it was Washington State, there had been something like a 500% increase or something, the number of teenagers who are now identifying as transgender. Vast majority of them are teenage girls, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls. This is not organic. It's not a genuine, natural thing that's occurring. And as people probe further into this, they are finding too that in addition to young gay people, like you're saying, autistic kids tend to be targeted. Kids who are kind of on the fringe, maybe they're overweight, maybe they're unpopular, maybe they feel like they don't fit in. But a lot of them are kind of being preyed upon and told that, the answer to your problem is to realize that you're in the wrong body, and then you're taking kids who, maybe they weren't the most popular, maybe they weren't the most attractive, maybe they weren't whatever, but now suddenly they're being celebrated.
Yeah.
They're being applauded. Everyone's saying, oh, you're so brave. You're so, way to go. You're trans.
Yeah.
And then they end up going down this path of being told to bind their breasts or start engaging in medical interventions, puberty blockers, surgeries, and these things are irreversible and catastrophic. I understand we've deviated a bit from where your question began, but yes, I do believe that kids who would have otherwise turned out to be gay or maybe just sexually curious are being told that they're trans. And I also think that it's not just those kids. I think it's lots of different kids who are being kind of lured into this thing that's kind of catapulting them overnight into suddenly being celebrated and popular, and it feels good. And then the next step is that they're being told that they need to take steps to permanently alter their physical identity.
Yeah. And, it's interesting you brought up women, girls, because they are susceptible to this much more so than guys, I think. They're more emotional. Their hormones is a whole big deal. Everything's changing for a little girl. She's suddenly 10 years old and she's getting breasts and whatnot, and she's getting sexual looks from men, and they don't know how to grapple with that. They're kids. And they've always struggled with these trends, bulimia, and anorexia in the 80s. And then suddenly it was cutting. And then they always fell into this. And now the latest trend, obviously, is this transgenderism. It just gives them likes and follows. The abuse, the horrible downside to social media. And it's had some wonderful things, like so many things. It's had some wonderful opportunities for people like us to have conversations or to get messages. But to be abused, to harm people, to put out this material into the atmosphere that these kids are drawn into, certainly is something that has to be addressed too. I don't know how you do that. I'm not into censorship, but social media is definitely at play here when it comes to destroying some of these kids' ability to think clearly. So, well, listen, if you were to leave my people, and they're mainly conservatives, many Christians, but not all, patriots, First Amendment, Second Amendment believers, certainly truth tellers, walkaway campaign, they could jump into that. As you already said, it's for everybody, but is there anything you would leave them with that you would want to kind of say, okay, here's who I am, and here's what I want you to think about me as you see me out in the highways and byways. Come see me, come listen to me, but go out on your perspective about how you want people to think about you moving forward.
Sure. Well, I'll make it more about the movement at large. Walk Away is a movement of people who are walking away from left-wing radicalism, walking away from restrictions on our Constitution, First and Second Amendments, as well as many other things, the weaponization of our justice system, transing of Americans' kids, the racial division and segregation. We're walking away from all of it, and we're walking toward a more open, loving, civil, accepting society where we can agree to disagree and we can come together on what we come together on. I mean, that's what Walkaway is all about and what we want. And we travel the country talking to various minority communities as well as other groups of people who are typically voting Democrat in an effort to open people's minds and provide intellectual and spiritual freedom. And so if anyone wants to follow and support what we're doing, the best thing I could tell them to do would be to go to walkawaycampaign.com. That's our website, but go to walkawaycampaign.com/next. And the reason why we have that is because it's next steps for us. Anybody, if they go to this walkawaycampaign.com/next, we have the link there where you can join our new Facebook group. You can join our app. You can join our email list. You can join our texting list. And if you'd feel so inclined, you can make a financial contribution to support our movement as we try to reach as many people as we possibly can with our message and our mission. So you can check out our website, walkawaycampaign.com/next. That's how you can find out more and help us out.
Well, nothing can be more important and crucial right now in America than to remember what it meant to be an American, which means we're going to have a lot of flavors, a lot of different points of view, a lot of different histories, a lot of different choices. But in the end, if we don't choose to be Americans and choose to have something in common that establishes who we are, we will not survive. So I'm grateful guys like you are out there fighting from your point of view, my point of view. And even though we have differences in certain areas, we certainly can come together when it comes to the big things. And that is free speech, getting together and speaking truth to power in the hope that this nation can survive what we had never suspected would happen on our watch. Thank you so much, Brandon Straka, for coming on. I hope we can come on again where we can go even deeper. But in the meantime, I wish you well in your journey. And thank you again for having time with Brad Stine Has Issues.
Thank you, Brad.
You got it.